Well, um, so I would like to take this subject a step further. So our team doesn't. We check out the competition, of course, to be aware. But the thing is that we're not trying to be better than anyone else. We're trying to be better than ourselves every day. It's not a competition. It's an infinite game. If you if you say that I want to be the best and I want to have the best interface and this and that, you're missing the point. It's not the point to beat everyone else. It's the point to be the best that you can and improve and build on that. That's how we came with the 3D models, and then we expanded into a whole other medium of creating an experience, a dining experience, which is unique.
What we call the future of dining. That's what we are calling it.
Yeah.
But let us know when you're recording, because
I am now.
No, it was like,
that way I don't
I
show
feel like
my
you should have
secret.
been recording
I
before.
don't know why I didn't.
All right,
So
well
I'll
now
keep my
everyone else
secrets
can
from now
hear.
on.
yeah. No
Guys,
crazy stuff, Angel.
Best behaviour.
Yeah.
No, I'll misbehave, but I'll keep my secrets. It's different.
That
But
cat
you
is
know,
gonna
like
be hectic.
we got a pretty kick-ass team, you know, with the marketing and Konstantin. Konstantin is our partner. He does a lot of coding. Me and him actually created this idea and worked through it with Angel and the other guys also. And now it's almost coming to a conclusion where we're ready to go, and nothing can stop us.
Okay, shall we explain what you're talking about? Because we know.
Yeah.
But
But
for everybody else, what is
everybody else.
Voila? And what have you been trying to achieve
Voila.
Voila.
All right, so
with it? Nice name, by the way. Actually.
Yeah.
Thank you.
so voila, what actually voila means, it's a kind of magic, you know.
Here you go.
Yeah. So when magicians do magic tricks, you always see when they try and they spread the pigeons from their arm or something. They always
the
say
rabbit out of the hat.
voila. And we thought that actually, remember Angel when we were at the Studio Hotel, and there was a girl trying to order a salmon bagel. Remember that story? So couple of weeks back, I took some pictures. You know, that's how easy it is. You take some pictures of a dish, you go around it, on top of it, and then you have a 3D model, right? So there was a girl trying to decide what she was going to order, and she's like, yeah, what is a salmon bagel? So, like, literally, what I did is I just opened my phone. Let me find it. I still have it. And I was like, this was one of the first models. So this was months back. So we were still in trying to see what's best, what the angles are, you know, the lighting and everything. And we figured out that it's just pictures. You don't need any equipment. You know, I see videos on YouTube. They're trying to go around with a special camera and all the lighting. I'm like, no, you don't need that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little background, like 3D models. Like, there's possibilities of creating 3D models at the moment, but usually it takes about 2 days, and it takes special type of equipment where you have to have like a circular thing so you can take the photos in a very precise way. But what these guys have done now is that you can create a 3D model that's done.
Wow, it's very good. It is actually very good. Like Angel,
That looks really good.
Yeah.
We're currently looking at a 3D model of some Mexican food.
Yes. Yes, it is.
And a nice overview of it. But what I've noticed in a lot of other ones, say like Kabakyu or the 3D food and drink that are in, say, America, I've looked at theirs and their food models aren't that appealing, you know.
They're mostly animated, right?
Yeah. And they look disgusting. I don't want to eat it. I don't want to buy it. Like, how are you going to tackle that problem? Is the food as good as it looks?
Because there's a problem in general, I think, with menus that have pictures of their food on them.
Yeah.
Right? If you go into a restaurant and you see that, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Bit.
It doesn't look like what I saw in the photo.
Is this going to be nice? And it's always super contrasted, like, really not a great photo, not very appealing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how are you guys going to overcome that?
I think that it's really important to note that it's really good for the business owner that has the ability to change and modify whenever they want to. So if for whatever reason it's not appealing, we do have a system that works pretty well and does pretty well details. As far as what I've seen from other 3D models, Like I was trying to say now that it would normally take 2 days to create one, they're creating it in 30 minutes.
Less than that, but
But they do it like, not only do they do it fast, but it shows really well details. And like any start of any company, you can only go from there and start and keep going better. It is important, like I said, it's that the business owner has the capabilities to edit and change those things whenever they want to. So if for whatever reason they have like a complaint or something, they can modify it and it'll be done immediately and it'll be re-uploaded. So it is a responsibility for the business owner, but it's also a marketing tool. For them to take care of it like they would do it when they're designing their menu or when they're designing anything that goes together to their restaurant.
Yeah, so to answer your question, so how do we differentiate ourselves? Of course, before you start doing anything, you check out the competition, right?
Yeah.
And we saw that Kavak, for example, the 3D models they create for food especially, they look animated as we claim. So the first question that arose was, how do I make it better, right? I want to go to a restaurant, and despite the language of the menu, despite if I don't know what to eat, I want to see something, and then I know that's the thing I want to eat, right? So we said we can modify it and add so many editing and features, but that's just, it takes the magic out of it, right? So essentially, that's what I said before. You just need pictures. It's the food. It's
how
nothing
often
more,
have you
nothing
said
less.
that in a restaurant of like, oh, I wonder what that's like?
Yeah.
Because you can't really like picture exactly what it is if it's something that you've never had before. And if you can look at a picture and be like, oh yeah, that is something that I'd enjoy, or I'm really glad that I've seen that before I've ordered it because it's not something that I'd want to eat.
Let me ask you a question. How many times have you been in your house and you're asking yourselves, I want to go somewhere, but I really don't want to go. I don't know what's new, what's the best out there.
Yeah.
So this is an application in which you can just open your phone, input what you like, and then you see all the pictures. You know that's what I'm gonna get.
I suppose it's good for new businesses also because a lot of the time you ask friends like, oh, have you been to Kombu before? What is it like? Or somewhere else in the city, and you go off people's opinions. If you're a brand new restaurant and nobody knows, if you can look at the food and have a little bit of an idea beforehand, it's easier than having to like work from the ground up with word of mouth and people.
And building on what you just said, you ask people if that's good. It's all based on an opinion, right? It's what it is. So if you ask me, sure, I think Burger King is the best, but
and I'd say,
if I'm
it is.
Yeah, exactly. If I'm absolute on that point, because I haven't tried any other burgers, how would you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I feel there is a real opening for it now, especially say in these corona times and pandemics, you're really sliding into the market.
You couldn't be in a better time, honestly, to have this set up.
But in terms of say like design flaws you've seen in other models, like the other ones we mentioned, how are you going to kind of improve yours with, in terms of design, in terms of how you're going to grow?
Okay. Well, so I would like to take this subject a step further. So our team doesn't. We check out the competition, of course, to be aware. But the thing is that we're not trying to be better than anyone else. We're trying to be better than ourselves every day. It's not a competition. It's an infinite game. If you say that I want to be the best and I want to have the best interface and this and that, you're missing the point. It's not the point to beat everyone else. It's the point to be the best that you can and improve and build on that. That's how we came with the 3D models, and then we expanded into a whole other medium of creating an experience, a dining experience, which is unique.
What we call the future of dining. That's what we are calling it. And like you mentioned, it couldn't come in better times like we are now in COVID-19 pandemic, because we will start opening up in June 1st pretty soon, and 3D models can really shorten the time that you spend at a restaurant, or shorten the time that you spend what you would spend looking at a menu, waiting for a menu to be delivered. Menus could be dirty as well for sanitary purposes. So we couldn't come to a better time, and it is really just a ride for us. We really had to.
But generally, I mean, speaking for the coronavirus, I think it's not a better time, because if we phrase it as a better time, we shade over the actual problem of the pandemic.
Yeah,
of course.
But it's not a better time. I would phrase it as the right time to help people.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
a tool.
So
and there's a need for it because of how much the world has changed.
there were a little change.
Yeah.
I mean, this application wasn't created 2 months ago. This was an ongoing process for 8, 9, maybe 10 months. And well, it's just that we're ready to provide a service that's going to help. That being said, I mean, all the people that want to join us, want to become a part of the Voila family. We're also not trying to impose a cost on them. So essentially, we provide a free service for them, a free demo service for them in the beginning to help them stand back on their feet and grow with us.
For restaurants.
Restaurants, cafes, hotels. This application is also built for an external reservation system. You don't need to call. You just send a message to the restaurant as a request, and they just answer if you can come or not.
I think should we give a summary about what the app really it is as far as the experience that you'll get? I think.
Please do.
Yeah.
In terms of the design function as well, like we are all solutions based, and this is a solution for a current problem. So delve into it.
So this application, the way it would work is that when you walk into a restaurant, there'll be table numbers in each table. You walk in and you'll put the table number that you are sitting in, and it'll open up the menu for that restaurant. You can always look at the menu before going to a restaurant, like I said before, so it eliminates the time that you're going to be spending at the restaurant. So when you open the table, you'll see the menu, and when you see the menu, you could actually see the 3D models of each dish. As a consumer side, it's like we talked, the visuals is just so appealing. You could really know what you're getting, what portion it is. When you're involving images, there's no need for translation. So if you have a Dutch menu, even then you could still see a visual, so you know exactly what you're going to get. So you place your order, and then the waiter can just bring it to your table, and that's it. When you're done paying, you can leave whenever you want to. There's no need to have a lot of contact with the restaurant staff, which is also really good for employees, because we also have to assure security for employees, which I think is really important as well, not just for the consumers, but also for your own employees. With this app also, what we collect is obviously data, which is really important to emphasize, because we are going to give you what you want on your application. If you, for example, order burritos, we can recommend burritos that are sold in different places, something that you can't really search burritos in Groningen. But because of this application, not only will you be able to see all burritos, you'll be able to see which places sell it and see how they look before you even go there.
Are you providing data back to the restaurants too of like what's ordered most?
Yeah, just to be clear, data is a bit of a very, very thin line. We're not the owners of the data. We just collect the data from the orders, right? And then we just feed it back to help the restaurants and call it a preference system. A way to help the users create a unique experience, as it was said before. Also, what Angel said, we've seen many apps start putting QR codes onto tables, right?
Yeah.
And something that so this was one of the first obstacles we came across, because I personally own an Android phone.
Same.
But you know, it doesn't. You know, but the QR code doesn't work with my camera. I need to go to the website, and this just takes everything away. When you go to a restaurant, you want to feel as if I'm here. I want to relax. I don't want to go through information and this and that. No, I want to be served. This way. We're not taking the customer experience away. We're just giving the people a table number in which they can input it in their app, right, and then start ordering. Simple, easy. It's just one thing. You need to download the app.
Do you think that it will affect the work environment in general in restaurants with waitresses and waiters, and that whole system, if they're not having to do as much work, do you think that's going to affect?
Okay, are you talking about now, 3 months from now, or a year from now?
Well, I mean, now is a very different time than normally.
So we're not the ones changing we're helping.
But in normal,
okay,
in the quotation marks, when everything goes back to normal,
all right,
and people are back at work, back in restaurants, how do you think this is going to affect that? And is it something that's on your mind when you're like trying to design this and how it's going to be used?
Of course. We have two things in mind. Obviously, business owners saving money. Obviously, with these hard times, I think even though we are seeing an increase on unemployment at the moment, this app seems to for people that there are not going to be any more waiters and there's not going to be no jobs in that sector. But we need to really focus on the shifting of jobs. Mm-hmm. Just necessarily because we don't have more waiter jobs doesn't mean that we won't create jobs in another sector. I always like to compare this, for example, the oil company and green energy. Mm-hmm. There's so many people working right now in oil companies, and those are the same people that support oil, and they don't want to switch to green energy. We have to create that shift in order to move forward as a society. And I think key with this is, obviously, I think it's education and moving our society further and challenging ourselves to do other types of positions or other jobs that are shifted more to the technology sector because that's what the future is. Also, we have a young generation as well that is obviously communicating in different ways. A lot of us, at least me, I still appreciate the human-to-human contact, but there is a younger generation that I can tell you that they don't enjoy that.
Yeah, definitely we see it all over the place.
Yeah.
My sister can't order in a restaurant.
Yeah, you have to do it for them sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like they look and they're like...
it would be perfect for her to not have to look up from her phone.
Yeah.
I actually enjoy when this type of conversation comes across because I have never ever been into a restaurant in a family table and not see a kid holding an iPad.
Oh yeah.
So in terms of like you say you want to kind of switch that job sector, will you have some sort of program in place for employees who don't have actually the job skills or the tech skills or design skills, but will give them a leg up and kind of show them a path of sorts?
To understand the question is, how do we help new employees that come into restaurants?
Will there be a system where you teach them the skills that they need?
So this app, it's a new thing, right? Mm-hmm. So I think the most important thing is to educate people in the most simple way. Mm-hmm. This is what makes the difference between a good app and a great app. It's how you come across. If it's a nice and easy user interface, we're not trying to create something so complicated that people can't use. It's
keep it simple.
Yes, the trick is not the trick, but the way we want to publish, advertise, market the app, that we take each and every aspect of the experience, of the dining experience, and make it simple.
Yeah.
But I think also what you're hitting as far as like ourselves as a company, how do we give back to society and kind of you're saying basically replace or what program that we're going to create, and that's something that we really don't have obviously answers for because we're at the initial stage. Obviously I think that if we become big enough we will try to solve something for students or provide opportunities for them.
Yeah.
So just a general question, Angel, what's the range between the people working in restaurants? It's from 17, 18 to 20, 25. So they're all, as we can say, using Instagram, using Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter. So they're all accustomed to the phone, right? Yeah. So how do we help? As we said before, in this situation, we have the preference system that is for users. At the same time, when you sign up as a restaurant, you have a dashboard with the analytics of your restaurant, the sales, everything like that. So essentially what we could train people to be is a shift in the market of making everything more digital, being able to read the screen, being able to actually see the numbers in a restaurant and draw conclusions. That's as I said before, I'm an AI student. So essentially, we're trying to create a system in which the AI itself will be able to help the restaurant thrive in its business.
Yeah.
I mean, now, for example, if instead of hiring a waiter, you could hire now a photographer to help you create those 3D models.
Yeah.
So that's also an opportunity. It's just that at the end also has to have support from the business owner as far as how they want to alleviate that issue if they really consider. But their opportunity is there. They could hire, and I've been working now in the industry, food industry, for 3 years here in the Netherlands. And every time I meet people in this industry, they're all talented. They're talented people with good skills, and you just have to create those opportunities for them to embrace them.
Yeah.
I've met a couple of photographers and all that stuff, but they really don't use it. Now, what if this platform gives them that opportunity to start making
We
photos?
all met working in a restaurant, doing a job that wasn't what we're trained to do while we were studying.
Exactly.
And now we're here talking about
The
everything
job
else that we do in our lives. That's
Okay,
not
so,
working in a restaurant.
Since Angel said this, we are in a starting phase. What would you like the people that do work in a restaurant want to see in this app? Because it's a learning source. We can never be great really if we don't get all the opinions we can, all the points.
I think that there's not a way to avoid the negative idea that it's getting rid of people's jobs, but I think that this is the future regardless of what you think of it, that this is what's going to happen. So the way that you're doing it, I think as long as you keep a bit of humanity in it, which you are definitely doing, it's not a cold idea of look, we can do everything for your restaurant, you don't need staff anymore.
No.
It's definitely not that.
No.
It's a very helpful aid on the side because I can see how if you're giving analytics back and stuff, it also helps with stock and how much you need in and what's the most popular what you need to buy in without just having to look through your fridges.
Exactly.
And figure out what's left and what's going out of date.
Yeah.
That you know what's most popular, what you need to buy in on one page. That seems really helpful.
Yeah. It's one of the biggest problems in any market.
And it takes a lot of pressure off whoever's managing. That it is just on black and white somewhere. Yeah. You're not fucking up by being I think this and we need more of this and we don't.
No.
And then you make a bunch of waste.
Data doesn't lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I actually have a design question because we are design and art, and I'm just wondering how you're going to find the solution for, say, visually impaired or other disabilities who won't be able to see, who won't be able to use the menu. How are you going to adapt your design features?
I'm really glad.
Well, I mean, how do restaurants do that in general?
How do they do it? Yeah. Obviously, there's a human that can tell you what's on the menu, but if you're the only one doing it, well,
and I just recently spoke to someone from the student hotel who's blind, and I actually asked him that question: how do you read menus? Because I had to. I'm doing this app, and obviously we want to include everybody. Inclusivity for us, I think, it's really important. And with this app, I think it's even easier to produce those types of things just by putting a voiceover that reads you the menu, or something that really helps them out. For visually impaired, we can.
And usually, people have a setting on their phone that reads out web pages and stuff. So it might not even have to be something that you put into your own app.
Yeah.
But as long as it's formatted properly for that to work on someone's phone or laptop or whatever, that you can just have it as audio description.
Yeah. So, for example, how will that sound? In my mind, I can't hear that.
Well, iPhones already have it in their settings.
If it's a visual media, say, is the lettuce crispy? Is it going to describe exactly what it's looking like? So, you have a soft brioche bun, etc.
And the description is open for the person to write it that way. And I think it's really, and I like that you're bringing this up because we can actually suggest this to business owners to actually help people that are visually impaired and help them out with visualization, with putting a nice description. They're in control, and I think that's what we're going to push thanks to you guys now. I think I'd be to put crispy chicken and make sure that
it descriptive,
very descriptive for them.
The restaurants, when they do make their menu, right, they are free to write as much as they want about the dish. The ingredients, the food is customizable, I would like to point out. So when I create, you said you were possibly talking about the chicken burger.
I don't know, I was describing any kind of food.
The bun and then the crispy chicken. So I was going with that, But I don't like tomato, then I can just take it off and then the restaurant knows.
There's nothing worse than not knowing that it comes with something on it that you don't like.
Yeah.
Right? But maybe is there a solution that maybe one of you, maybe you guys can hire someone, or you have a team of people who are kind of the only waiter or waitress in the place that is in control of your system, can help people out, kind of like a help desk kind of situation.
Yeah.
Is that another way you can also employ people to do rather
Exactly,
than
customer service. I mean,
perhaps?
it is about customer service at the end of the day.
Of
You
course,
always have to provide that, and somebody that does understand the system is able to provide even better customer service of what's going on. And
But I think everybody should know how it works, the way that everyone should know the menu in the restaurant that they're working in.
You know, the idea of it being like, if we create this universal menu for people that are visually impaired, because right now every time they go to a restaurant they have something different. Like he told me sometimes they do have like those
the braille.
the braille. And sometimes they don't. Sometimes he has to just ask for what the day special is. And if we create this as a universal tool, they can go to any restaurant they want to and always expect the same thing. And that creates a little bit of
consistency.
Consistency. And knowing that every time they go in, they can read the menu and know how to do it. Instead of, it's an anxiety. I'm not, but I would feel that you would always have to think about what it is that you are going to get when you are trying to order.
Not only that, but I believe that if we do have a really nice visualization of what you're going to eat, it also means that the chef needs to be able to produce that.
Yeah.
So there's no slack between the people that make the food.
There's no throwing it across the room
also,
into a bun.
what Angel said with the daily specials is that a restaurant menu needs to be, when there's a change on it or if something is sold out, then the waiter needs to educate the people. What our application helps with is that your menu is digital, therefore editable, customizable. I can make the dishes that I want visible, the dishes that are sold out invisible. I can create any dishes I want whenever I want. I can create the 3D models of that dish whenever I want. It's also not about cost optimization, that you need to print out menus all the time, but it's also a sense of freedom for the restaurant owners. Right? It's you can have what you want whenever you want, not just for the customer, for the people actually creating it too.
I think this goes back to, we had a conversation yesterday or the day before that I wish was recorded. Another one about work, of Holly bringing up a point of like, why is design not appreciated the way that art is? And I
was getting very upset.
She was, and I was bringing her back down to earth a little bit, and talking about obviously how like ancient classical fine art is, how it's been around for centuries and centuries and always been looked upon as beautiful, and that's why it's in museums and galleries and whatever, in the white box system. And the design is always, because Holly was like, yeah, but design's been around since like the dawn of time, like you've always had to design something. And I'm like, yeah, but
whatever, like,
but design is always linked with something practical that is used, and it's not put on a pedestal in the same way. It doesn't mean that it's not appreciated because you use it every day. You, like, a spatula is designed perfectly to do what it does.
It's taken for
but you don't
granted
look
for
at that
sure.
and think, oh my god, it's beautiful. No, it's functional, and it can be beautiful. And I think that's the real importance with design, of like, the function is just as important as the aesthetic of it.
Yeah, for sure.
And that I don't think it should be put in a white box behind glass or on a wall. That it's used, and I think that's what you're doing, bringing design into people's everyday life in a way that we haven't really thought about before, that clearly is more appealing to visually see what you're going to get rather than just reading words, and bring it into another part of life that you just like overlook, you don't think about the design of it.
And AI being such a prominent point of our modern society, like we see over as robots and cars and all these kind of things that are, I feel like maybe AI is going to be our new normal, you know.
And it starts off small. It's not like the singularity. Robots are not going to take over anytime soon, but they're going to help us.
Is that true, Nick? Are you sure? You can confirm that with us?
I can show you. This is a question that comes up all the time.
I think the first time I met you, I was like, hey, you're going to take over the world with your robots or something?
No, man, I can show you.
I
I can show you a convolutional neural network that shows a picture of a dog and says it's a cat, you know, and the robots are far off.
Yeah.
Oh really? Okay, so we're not going to have world
But
domination
they're
by robots
already,
yet.
they're just, it's helping. And
Yeah,
I think that
absolutely.
it's humans creating this stuff. We have to remember that humans are at the
And you know
bottom
what?
of everything.
I'm really excited about this
All
as
of
well.
this.
Is that we're having this tool be accessible for for a lot of people, and I'm really curious to see how they're going to utilize it creatively. Because we're right now focusing on just providing a service,
think about how
but the
people are going to take
possibilities
their
are there
pictures.
for them to be creative and figure out what they can do. For example, when we had Vine, we knew that it was just a
Yeah.
15 seconds.
seconds.
But then
yeah.
people started getting creative by pausing the video and then doing something with it.
Yeah.
And that created its own trend by itself. And that's what I'm hoping with this, that we're providing this tool for them to be creative.
You know, there was Vine, now there's TikTok,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
There's restaurant menus and now there's Voila.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
You know,
That's so good.
there was phones and then there was Facebook.
Yeah.
You know, there was
True.
Super MySpace.
there was mail and now there's WhatsApp. You know, there's
Yeah.
always gonna be this shift. It's just when is
course.
it gonna come?
You can turn your
Exactly.
lights on by speaking. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, we have a Google Home here.
oh, I know. He has a
Yeah.
very smart home.
Hey, Google.
But then I suppose there needs to be kind of a push, like between AI and design in terms of like like aesthetics of it and the actual.
I'm
mechanics
happy
of
you
it.
brought this up. Do you know that now there's an AI taking so many pictures and creating paintings out of them by itself?
Really? Wow, I did
By,
not
by
know that.
itself.
It's
So
amazing.
so AI is not it's a concept, it's a perspective, but it's also a tool.
Yeah, it's a material.
What
it's
information
And
are
I
you
think
using
it's
to
also an
create
art, if you ask me.
It also is,
It's-
absolutely.
Like, what is
some
it?
type of- I
Just
mean, even though
pictures
it's so
from-
strict art,
Pictures
but-
and the algorithm itself.
Okay.
Yeah, it's mad what people are kind of creating with this. Like we've seen even
a
in
new
our
form, yeah.
Snapchat or Instagram filters, we did
Yeah.
a picture
Yeah.
of your face
Yeah.
and it looked like a mask with like all of these grids.
Yeah.
It looked fairly like AI like. So that's kind of like it's
Yeah.
a look. It's meta. Like people fucking
Oh,
love
don't
the
use the
robotics
word
and
meta around
I'm gonna
me.
use it. I'm gonna use it because
No.
it was it was a very proper word.
You know, the next step after actually having the 3D models on your phone, the next step is having them in AR. As you said, a face on my mask, I want the
Well,
food
yeah,
on my
but your
table.
Google glasses on. You
No,
can
just the phone.
Yeah, yeah.
Just the
it's
phone.
mad.
You just open your phone and the food is on your table without even being there.
Or-
It's
That's
nuts, yeah.
crazy.
So like that's another thing I wanted to ask you guys. So I saw that Kabak are doing say Snapchat and the filters. You
Oh,
can
I
have
can
some
show
sort
you.
of food fight. Like how are you guys going to integrate social media into this? Because obviously people take pictures of their food all the
Yeah.
time. I'd say like there's hardly any meals anymore that aren't taken picture of.
Yeah.
So
and,
how are you going to kind of implement that?
there's been, I think we've just slightly discussed this, of implementing some social aspect into it
Here
to
it is.
allow
It's
like,
on the table, but it's not really on the table. You know.
That's not
Yeah.
really on the table.
No, it's not. That's a 3D model. That's AR.
Wow, so we're looking at what is it, poppadoms?
Yeah, I guess
Ah.
so.
Poppadoms
crazy.
and they actually look really tasty. They look like I really actually want to have Indian food.
they're not real.
They're not real.
That's crazy.
I'm also.
I mean, they're real with photos, but not really real.
Yeah.
And again, I just want to clear out. Our vision is not to be like anyone. We want to be unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like the compete with yourself idea.
Yeah.
That do your own shit and do it really well, and then you don't have to worry about other people.
And that
Yeah.
can absolutely be translated into any kind of design or
Mhm.
concept or.
To
Like,
be honest, we
Yeah.
could have released this service, I would say 7 months ago, if we would have
Mhm.
not put into this type of tool with a augmented reality. We could produce something that would just allow people to look at a text menu, but we decided to take the approach of being visually more appealing and more artistic. And like you asked the question, how are we going to create the social aspect into it? We've been thinking of allowing chefs to actually create an account so they can share their foods. So kind of like an Instagram feed type
Yeah.
of thing. Obviously, that's more on future.
People could also do
Updates.
that.
Yeah.
But it'll
Because
be really cool, yeah.
I'm sure that like sometimes I take a picture of a meal, but I'm like I'm not going to post it on Instagram because it's a meal.
Yeah.
But what if you are really into food and you travel and whatever, and you can have your own little like Instagram type of feed
Yeah.
of the stuff that you've
3D
eaten.
models, yeah. It doesn't necessarily. We can go
Bring a
even think
profile
further than that. We
aspect.
can think just not just food. We can think about different things that you can make models that you want to share with other people that they could just play around
and
with.
use hashtags, and then that's also what people can search with one restaurant.
Yeah.
They see the pictures that people have taken of their food in real life too.
Actually,
And
I
you
did
can see that.
I did some research on hashtag 3D food, and it's well, a couple of weeks back it was only 100 mentions, I think.
Really?
Yeah, so I think this could actually be something really big.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is just sometimes crazy to grasp that this is happening now, and we're having this here in Groningen, a small city with a lot of talented students.
Yeah, of course, we see so
yeah,
many
100
people doing
plus.
that. In every aspect of it as well.
Yes. But yeah, we'll be launching hopefully next month. Expected, obviously, with the whole way that the coding and stuff works, you can not always just have a set date. It's more difficult. You always have this and that, and we want to make sure that we put it out there where it's as easy for the users to not struggle with it. We're struggling ourselves now, and we want to do that ourselves and not have it.
Yeah, we're struggling in every case, trying to see all perspectives, trying to make it as easy as possible. But as I said before, the app itself any app itself can never be perfect. There's always going to be one little touch that you can make to make it better. As I said before, it's an infinite game. You just have to keep working, keep making it better.
It's always an update.
Yep, exactly.
But that's great that you've mentioned the struggle. Like, I feel like, especially now, everybody's in quarantine and very much worried that they're not being productive and they're not getting the chance to do their thing. Either they're not motivated or they're depressed or whatever. But it's good to hear that people are struggling. That it's okay to struggle as well. And even if it is like AI or it is design or a business, we have to let people know that, take it easy, take it chill.
We're struggling at times.
We are also, always.
Step back
We're never not struggling.
Be patient.
Never not struggling.
But it's what you do with that struggle, and also don't be afraid to speak about it as well. Like, we are only human in the end. So.
We're not robots, unfortunately, not yet.
Not yet.
So
we're getting there. Start with Botox.
Start with Botox. Okay, let's stop talking about work now.
Yeah, I agree.
One thing that I would like to mention, I want to invite your listeners to send in their photos, because we'll be happily to produce 3D models for them. We are going to send an instruction video to you guys on how to make the photos, and I want to hear feedbacks of what they think when they're making the photos with the instructions. It is something new. It's not
your project.
It's not your typical way of making photos, but it is what we say the future.
Actually, it's really simple.
It's really simple, but it's just a different approach of making a photo for sure. You just
you just have to imagine a plate. You just have to take all aspects from it. You need to take a picture from above, some pictures around, and then here you go.
So you guys are on Instagram, Voila Dining, and where else can people find you?
Facebook, LinkedIn.
They can find us our website. We're actually pre-registering businesses at the moment for when we release it. They're gonna get a first month for free. They go to the website voiladining.com, and they could just put in their details, and then we'll contact them and figure out what's best for their restaurant, because I think there's different approaches for either sit dining or pre-ordering for small cafes that are also interested in that. A lot of people have gotten really creative and creating their own platforms, but it's also important to know if we all work together in one universal program, we can help each other out by sharing our information between each other and helping the economy that way, and having more tailored advertising, to be honest. But that will only work if we have a set group of businesses that are working together, that know they are helping each other.
Support local, support the people around you.
And another thing is we are easing up our quarantine regulations at the moment. Unfortunately, we've heard that there might be maybe a second wave. It's so uncertain, and who knows if we go back to another quarantine in the winter. And something that I like to point out is that even if that does happen, you're still able to provide a service from your restaurant and take pre-orders. They don't have to sit down, and your menu will always be available for your clients, and you can interact with them that way, even though if you don't have anybody to sit down in the restaurant.
Yeah, and your customer base is still there. I've had this little tiny kitten on my lap for this whole podcast.
Miss Mistios.
I've been pretty happy. I've stopped recording now. Hello,
Oh, you were just asleep for the whole recording.
Stop recording. So we're done, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
Cool. That's nice.
Trying to press
Yeah.